Hello everyone. My name is Luanga Jena, and the name of my project is Plastic Power. As you can see, I go to UWC East Africa in Tanzania. I go to the Arusha campus because it has two campuses. And yeah, just a little bit of myself before I start. I'm born in South Africa. I'm also from Congo, and I've lived all around the world. And I'm currently in Bahrain in the Middle East. So yeah, thank you very much to UWC AC Lighthouse and to Allegra, my lighthouse keeper, for helping me with this project. And yeah, I'll get into it. Okay, so what is Plastic Power? The Plastic Power is a project that aims to reduce plastic bottle waste in Arusha, in the city of Arusha, where my UWC is. So we're trying to I'm aiming to do that by taking plastic bottles and waste and transforming them into furniture, which can then be sold towards the community as a way of upcycling them. We hope to, so with this project, we also hope to encourage other community members to look toward plastic upcycling as a way of income for themselves and their community members. And the construction of the plastic bricks is kind of loosely based on the eco-brick model, which I'll explain in a little bit. And it to be run as a sort of CAS activity in the school as well. So there are four main stages to Plastic Power. There's the collection stage, the sampling stage, the construction stage, and the selling stage. So with the collection stage, during the week, community members and UWC school members are encouraged to donate all plastic bottles and plastic waste that they don't need in specially marked bins around the campus, like the ones above. These bins can be bought really cheaply for like £3 or $4 in Tanzania, and then we can put them around the campus, and anyone can come and put them in. Parents can come put it in the bin whenever they come to pick up their child after school, for example. So every Friday, bins will be emptied by the members of this project, and then it'll be ready for sorting on Saturday, for sampling on Saturday. So on every Saturday, a different rotation of members will sort the plastic into different categories, as you can see in the pictures above, over there and there. And we're also going to sort the plastic waste into soft and hard plastic. So for the eco bricks, we want them to be soft plastic rather than hard plastic. So if they're inappropriate for use, then unfortunately we can't use them for the eco bricks. Then next, we move on to the construction part. So once a week, members will begin constructing different furniture with the plastic bricks. So the way that we make a plastic brick is by getting a plastic bottle and stuffing layers of plastic waste inside it to create a stable, strong brick. And then you connect it all together with other plastic bottles to kind of like create a solid structure. So examples of furniture are stools and tabletops. So this image that I got from an Argentinian website, it's not the exact same process, but that's kind of the idea for it in a way. So I just have to rush a bit. I'm running out of time. So after we're done, we're going to sell this furniture to community members at our campus's weekly Friday market. And another preferred alternative with what we want to do with this project is to partner with community members, ask them if they'd be interested in partnering with us so they can set it for their own benefit. And we just hope to like spread a good means of income and a way just to transform rubbish into something that can be useful. And so what this project needs is, I guess, I'll just say probably be advice. It'd be really helpful to learn to have advice about working with plastics and good and ethical design practices when you're trying to make an eco brick, or just generally like how to like kind of like deal with people in a respectful and ethical manner, instead of like going in like, oh yes, this is good for you, but like what's the best way to approach it. But yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Good job, Luanga. You were on time. So
yes, yay.
Clement or Jack or Peter wants to go. Clement, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Lovely meeting you in person, Luanga, because I had connected you with Jenge, who does work in the same realm, and I hope you had a great meeting with Zambi. Another initiative you might want to look into, you might maybe familiar, but is the Plastic Bank that does amazing work to reduce and reuse, give a second life to plastic in Southern America. And so that might be something you want to look into. I admire, great presentation. You got the information through. Very concrete project. I love how you're not dreaming of something too big, but you're actually saying, what can we start in our community? And that's the best way to go, because when you get into action, that's when you learn so much, you create partners, and then you can be better placed to scale your initiative, because I would love to see what you're doing there, expand beyond your UWC community and so on. But I think that starting small is the way to go. I think my one challenge for you, I'd be curious to have you dig into the why. What's the initial reason why you decided that you wanted to reduce plastic bottle and waste streams? And I'd be curious to ask you, and how could you tackle the root cause of plastic pollution?
Okay. Wait, sorry, silly question. Is that something to think about now, or should you want me to like try and give an answer now?
I'll let you. I think it's going to take you a couple of years to think about that question, because it's huge. And I know some other people who have done work in that field trying to map out all the plastic pollution systems that are in place. But the more you understand them, the more you can shift them. But I know a lot of people, some people who wanted to take plastic waste outside of the ocean. And at first they were thinking they literally do ships in the water that would collect plastic, and they realized it was impossible. So they went upstream and went in the rivers and had a system that would collect plastic that as it pours out of the biggest rivers into the ocean. And then they realized that wasn't good enough. It would take too much time to implement that system. So they went upstream, and now they're working notably in partnership with an organization in Benin, where they're trying to address plastic at the core by reducing consumers' consumption of plastic. And sometimes with everything you've put in place, I'm wondering, could you even channel that energy in a project that would make it that we're not even using plastic in the first place?
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That's really helpful.
Jack, your
Jack,
microphone.
I think you're
Yeah, well, one comment for me, and probably will apply to everyone, and it sort of echoes something that Clement touched upon, which is when presenting, the more you can start by telling your story and connecting your problem to your story, that just makes you as a presenter very compelling. Because if I believe you, if I trust you, then everything you will then subsequently tell me is going to be grounded in that feeling, and that will make it really powerful. You did that a bit. I think you could even just give us a little anecdote about, you know, what life is like in a town or village. Like Clement said, you know, what is it about plastic bottles that speaks to you and to the community? And you make that transition from personal to the big picture, you'll really take your listeners, your viewers along with you. And I think that's the same for all of you. You shouldn't be shy about explaining who you are and why this matters to you. It will really make you powerful speakers going forwards. Guys, I'm so sorry. I've got multiple dramas unfolding behind me in the kitchen. But I think I hope you can, you know, that's a thought that all of you can apply. Francois has my contact details. So if you should ever want any workshopping or thoughts about how presenting, I'd be really happy to give thoughts now. But I just I will have to sadly get off the call now. But just Luanga, great stuff. I'm really sorry to miss everyone else's presentations, but thank you for being change makers and for bringing, you know, such passion to the start of your post-AC, host UWC lives. But Francois, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you, Jack. I will share your WhatsApp and email if people want to contact you.
Thanks, guys. Bye for now.
And Peter, are you still with us? Oh, I think you're muted. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Right. I have a firstly, you those of you who I've worked with before will be very, very, very familiar with what I'm going to say. I'm a one-track pony on this because I think it's so important. You articulated your mission really well. That was the first thing. When I work with a lot of different programs and a lot of different projects, and the key to success is knowing what you want to do. And you articulated that mission very well and very concisely. Just tell me again what it was from your first slide. What did you write in your first slide?
Wait, I just put it up. So I wrote that I aim to take plastic bottles and waste and transform them into furniture, and I also hope to encourage other community members to do the same.
Yes. Okay. Great. I would just pull it down to even more. What you said very clearly. Your mission was to take waste plastic and convert it into furniture. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going to measure what is going to qualify as success, and how are you going to measure what is success for you? I ask you, tell me.
Sorry, should I reply? No. Okay. Okay, so I guess one way that I'll measure success is that, like, after 1 year, if I can inspire at least 5 people from community members to like start doing the same thing, then I'd say that it was at its basis what has been a success as well.
Can I interject there?
Yeah, sure.
This is very clearly, don't take this as because I work in the development field. I've worked in development for 30 years, and I have seen some projects succeed, and I've seen some projects not succeed. And again, the others, Giorgia and Francois, and people will know exactly where I'm going with this. You said you want to take bottles, waste plastic, and make furniture. How you're going to know if you succeed is if you've made any furniture. That is your qualification of success. If you make one piece of furniture, you have recycled plastic bottles, and you have done what you said you were going to do, right? Your mission does not say to inspire other people to do stuff. It does not say to set it up in all the way around the world. Quantifying your success is making furniture. And what I would really encourage you to do is make furniture. You need to do. We went through this at AC with exactly the same situation. To be successful in your project, you need to focus, and you need to find out what you need to lay out the steps very simply between taking a plastic bottle and making a piece of furniture. And what are they? How are you going to do it? Now, as I said, I worked with another AC student doing, we were talking. She was working on a project taking plastics from the oceans and going to make coffee cups. So we laid out these, and if you would like any help, you're welcome to get in touch with me, and I will. Anything I can do to help, I will. But again, the measurable outcome of change for you is making plastic benches or making tables. That's when you make take a plastic bottle and make it into something, you will be a change maker. You will have done change and you will succeed. So I would really encourage you to focus on doing, you know what your mission is? You laid it out really, really clearly and really well. Do it. Don't get stuck. And if you want, as I said, Francois has my contact. If you want to get in contact with me, as with all of you, I have endless amount of time at the moment. I'm still on lockdown. So, you know, feel free to contact me. Thank you. You're doing a great job. I applaud you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter.
And thank you, Luanga, for breaking the ice. I think you did a great job. And I think I would put on the spot next Giorgia and Hadit that I've been working with.
All right. Is it all right if we present as well?
Yes, I think you should have you should be able to.
Sorry, 1 second. I've never done this before. Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so yeah, hi, my name's Giorgia, and I did this project with Hadit and another Giorgia who is not here, but we have the same name, so she's here in spirit. So our project is the Kamhlaba cookbook, and the general idea was to compile a cookbook and then sell it and donate the proceeds. So first, like what we've done so far. So we designed a logo. Hadit, you can go next.
Okay, we create a form for the submissions of recipes. Since we start the project, we have already received 18 recipes from various UWCs around the world.
We promoted our project. We have an Instagram page and use just social media to get the link for the form out there.
Now we have already looked at the potential formats for the printing of our project.
And whenever we needed a little help, we would reach out to our excellent advisor. So what is next? I think next is to collect more recipes. I think we're hoping for maybe around 30 and maybe receive 35 because there might be some that don't have enough detail or something for us to use. And we also would like to collect drawings from the local orphanage school that the funds would be going to, because part of the idea was to have them contribute to this effort so that they work towards this money that they're receiving and get to be published. And then another next step is to design the layout of the cookbook on the software that we'd like to use. And we're just going to try to keep it simple, not get too fancy. We're going to print it. We found the company that we're going to want to print. It's going to be kind of like a booklet, soft cover, just for, it won't be super big, so it makes sense, and for economic constraints. And then we want to sell the cookbook to the UWC community and then donate the proceeds to St. Joseph's School in Eswatini.
Now we want to say thank you to Lighthouse for providing us with an organized platform that helped us to achieve all our purposes in the cookbook, for the assistance on topics we didn't know about, such as how to promote recipes or finance, for helping us to promote the collection of recipes in the different UWCs through creating a promotional video and get involved with pages such as UWC Food in Facebook.
Hadit, you could go for it.
And if you would like to help us to be involved in this project, you can submit a recipe to the Google form, follow our Instagram page, tell people you know about our project, or be on the lookout for the final product. Thank you.
Good job. And can you put the Google form in the chat so we can send it to cities? Great, and you had still 1 minute, so you were on time. Clément, do you want to start?
Sure, I can start the ball. Well, first of all, congrats. We see you've also been hands-on and you've got a concrete project you're working on, which is always the way to start. So, and we can tell you've already gone through a lot of steps, which is really great. One thing I might have been lacking a little bit in your presentation is that passion. And I'm curious to hear, why are you doing that project? And I'd like to hear from the different members of the team.
Hadit, you can go. I'm getting the link.
Okay, basically we have a lot of things in common. One of them is the passion and the love for food. And we went to a trip together and we started thinking about our cast project, and we wanted to do something that involved things that we loved and also help the community in around our UWC, that in this case is St. Joseph's School in Eswatini. And we started thinking and we thought that maybe will be cool to have like a cookbook to share this passion around food to all the members of our community.
Yep, same for me. Just love food and thought food is just such a way to connect people. And we kind of had this idea right before we got sent home and got into lockdown, and just thought, yeah, connecting people over food could be nice during these times when people are separate. And so, and also just like taking food as a big concept and then providing funds for this school that really a lot of kids just there have like are starving because the government just doesn't provide them with a lot of money or funding. And so taking like this food as a concept and making it into actual food for people that need it, we thought that'd be pretty cool.
Well, those testimonials, which would have been nice to hear in your presentation, so that everyone feel empowered and feel on board with your passion, is the story that's going to enable you to sell the cookbook. And the truth is, if you just sell the cookbook because it's another cookbook among the millions and million cookbooks there is out there, you're going to struggle at actually having people buy in. Whereas the story you've just told there, if you can craft it carefully, whether it be on a GoFundMe page, whether it be on whatever website or platform you're planning to sell the book, it's that story that I'm going to invite you to refine and refine and refine, because after all, people want to hear your passion. They don't want to know what you're doing. They want to know why you do it, because that calls to the essence and the reason for being of your project. And so that would be my biggest invitation for your team. And I think that's going to apply to everyone's project. Always communicate from that place of why, of reason for being of the project. And so that's kind of one part that I'm sure you're going to manage to tweak and create a great story out of just what you've complemented there. And then my other thing is, I always tell people when you have a project, there's 3 big steps you need to look at. You need to look at the feasibility. Can we build it? Is it feasible to create this project? The desirability. Do people actually want this? Do people want this cookbook? And the feasibility, desirability, and the viability. Is it financially viable? You talked, oh, well, we had economic constraints, so we need to do a smaller version. And so I usually invite people to explore those 3 spheres. And from all of the action you've mentioned, I felt that you were very much showing the feasibility. Is it feasible to build it? And everything you're doing is around building the book itself. But I'd really invite you to think sooner than later about that desirability piece. Who will want it? Is it only the UWC network people who will want to buy it? Or can you actually approach schools from other country that will buy into your book knowing that they're helping another school? So if you can really target the who is it for and who will desire that cookbook, it's going to help you increase your reach and increase the money you'll manage to fundraise for that school in Eswatini. And then in terms of viability, the same. Sooner than later, we tell students, try to just have fun on an Excel sheet to see how many books do we need to sell in order to raise our costs. And if we sell them at $20 versus $30 versus $40, how does that influence? And listing out all of the production costs, because you might realize people might not need a physical book, which costs a lot to ship, which costs a lot to produce. Do you want to just create an online book because people are buying it not for the paper, they're buying it for the cause? And so those are the aspects that I'd invite you, and it's probably going to transpose to a lot of other projects, to think not only feasibility, but think desirability and viability. But
very helpful.
That being said, you're on the right track. Just keep in mind who's that customer that's going to buy the book, and how are you going to make it financially viable so that you're actually raising money for the school. But super inspiring project, great work, and you're right on the right track.
Thank you.
A great project. Just most of what I was going to say has already been said, so I'll try and keep it very, very short. When I was listening, as was said, I wanted to hear the why, and I wanted you to clarify your cause. It was kind of you started to talk later about why you wanted to do it, and that's when that for me is what you should be leading it with. I'm a pragmatist. You all know that. For me, it's kind of, you're selling a cookbook for a cause. You can't just say the cause is buy this cookbook because we are trying to raise money for this very worthwhile cause. That's not going to make it a viable project in it. I would challenge you to look at what is going to make this cookbook wantable. Why are people actually going to buy it? What is the hook for this cookbook, as opposed to just saying, please give us $20 so as we can donate it directly to this cause? Why is it not what you're trying to do is, now, I may be wrong about this, but what I heard you say, your mission is to raise money for a local organization. Is that true? Is that what you said?
Yeah, for a local school.
Okay, yes. So your mission is, would you say your mission, a question of you then, is your mission to raise money for local school to lift people out of poverty, or is your mission to write a cookbook?
Hopefully do both.
Okay. What will qualify as success for you?
Well, for me, Hadit, maybe we have different ideas, but create a cookbook and then sell enough of them so we can donate or give something.
Okay, so the donation of the what I'm trying to get at is that you have an intermediary mission and you have an end mission. Your intermediary mission is the creating of the cookbook. Your mission is to support a local school that needs the support. So I would, to go back to what you know, when you're looking at the viability of what you're doing, if you end up in a position where the cookbook is proving to just be not workable for some reason, that's your intermediary mission. Your mission is to support a local school. So I just keep that in mind when you're working, and you are, when you're selling it, that's what you're selling, but you have to have a hook. I didn't hear, for me, I was thinking, why am I going to buy this book for $20? And why am I not going to say, I don't really want your cookbook, but here's $20 for the school? I need to know, there's got to be some, to start a cookbook with recipes from all the different UWCs, fantastic idea, love it. You need to articulate what it is that's special about this cookbook. That's what I would encourage you to do. And if you sell one cookbook and your measurable outcome of change, how you will know if you've succeeded is when you give $1 to that school that they would not otherwise have. That is your measurable outcome of change. You will have supported that school in a way that they will not otherwise get it if you produce money for that school. So good job. Go for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Giorgia and Hadit, for presenting and for the feedback. Can we have Jena and Pang? Oh, I don't think we hear you yet, Jena.
Oh, okay. Can you now?
Yes.
Oh, great. Brilliant. We don't have a presentation as in on the screen. Okay, I hope that's okay.
No problem.
Okay, so hi, I'm Jena from England and Taiwan.
Hi, I'm Pang from Thailand.
I, like many other people, have unwittingly eaten seafood that was sourced through modern-day slavery. Until recently, I was unaware of the shocking human cost of my food choices. After finding out more, I decided to start this project focused on stopping the horrific injustice of slavery in Thailand's fishing industry.
Migrants travel to Thailand from places like Myanmar and Laos, attracted by Thailand's low unemployment rates. They're then trafficked and sold for as little as £250 per person before being imprisoned on a boat, sometimes for years at a time. And on these boats, where the migrants are forced to work, there are reports of horrific human rights abuses, such as being forced to work 20 hours per day for only a bowl of rice, and as well as extreme physical violence and even executions.
The seafood that they catch is then exported to the UK, EU and US, where it is sold and distributed to restaurants and supermarkets and eaten by ordinary consumers. We strongly believe that human rights must be upheld. Therefore, we feel that people must be made aware of the appalling impacts of their consumption choices and the role they can play in eradicating modern-day slavery.
So, we are currently working on branding our organization and preparing to launch it on the 6th of July. So, in this day, we'll be starting our month-long letter writing campaign. We have created a pre-written email that supporters can easily send to their government representative as well as their local supermarket chains.
Contacting a parliamentary representative could lead the wider government to put pressure on the Thai administration to take further action to stop the use of slaves in the Thai fishing industry. Furthermore, putting pressure on supermarkets should force them to scrutinize their supply chains and look at whether or not they are taking the appropriate actions to prevent modern-day slavery.
We have used the UWC network to help translate this email into several different languages in order to make it more globally accessible. Through this project, we are learning many skills that will help us in furthering our organization, such as, firstly, we have looked at a wide range of resources to help research our topic throughout WE in order to fully understand how we can help. And we have improved our skills and capabilities in branding and advertising, allowing us to move towards raising people's awareness. And furthermore, we've also looked at how charities and NGOs use social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to promote a campaign or issues.
We have also learnt about collaboration with people over the internet. Pang and I only met through Lighthouse and then began working together online. Moving forward, we will focus on transitioning from raising awareness to taking action.
Through the letter writing campaign, it is possible that we're able to make a difference. However, we're always thinking of the ways we could drive our project further. For example, by starting petitions in order to pressure powerful NGOs like Human Rights Watch or Amnesty International to register what is happening and take further actions.
As well as raising money, we hope to collaborate with locally based NGOs which are fighting to stop the slavery, such as Project Isra, and organisations focused on rehabilitating escaped slaves.
We want to empower youth voice, particularly in Thailand, so I will be contacting my old school to organize and arrange a mini protest, so this could help further raise the awareness. And we're hoping to expand our focus to other East Asian countries later on, as we're aware that this problem is not limited to only in Thailand, it is an international issue.
The main challenge we face is that we want to make people more aware of the problem, but we are not calling for a ban on Thai seafood products. We don't think that consumers boycotting the industry is the best option to change the situation. One of the key causes behind the use of slavery is the incredibly low profits earned by fishing boat owners, particularly when faced with rising petrol and other prices. The cost of human labour is far lower than the cost of buying new equipment, whole nets. Therefore, we believe the solution has to lie in urging seafood importers and end consumers to make sure that producers are paid a fair price for their products.
So thank you for listening, Khop Khun Kha. And I'll also be sending the Instagram to our page. Thank you.
Good job. Just on time.
Peter, want to have the honor this time?
Wow, thank you. A great project and a great amount of work that you've obviously done in researching the issue and finding information on it. A couple of things that I would again maybe encourage you to think about. I actually come from a lobbying background. I was a political lobbyist in the US for 4 years. So I have a background in working with legislatures as well. I would encourage you to look about what are the most effective ways of bringing change about in what you're doing. You know, you talked about letter writing campaigns. Are they the best way? Does that cause change to happen? So I would look at that. I was writing notes all the way through as you're doing it, as you were talking. A couple of questions that I would ask you. You do the schools where you all eat seafood, or a lot of you eat seafood at the schools that you go to. Where does that seafood come from?
I already.
It's kind of.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Where does it come from?
I already contacted Atlantic College's kitchen staff, and they gave me a link to a website which all of their fish they use is approved from. So according to this organization, they are very meticulous in looking at where their food and fish is sourced and whether it's organic, and the workers are well paid. So that was very good. Yeah.
Good.
But
what I was getting at is that I work in agriculture. We set up youth agricultural cooperatives worldwide. So I work in the the food supply chain as well. People have choices about where they buy and what they buy. If you get one person to not buy seafood from someone that you're in this situation, and to change their supply to somebody else, you've made a concrete difference, because you affect the demand for that product. You're taking it somewhere else. What I would encourage you maybe to look at is that people are buying this stuff. Who is it that is buying it? And you have to look at putting pressure on those people to actually affect the supply chain. It's no big deal for a supermarket to change a supplier to an ethically sourced supply. That they will do it. It's and they will do it because the last thing that people want to have here is for their clients to be told, buy this is incredibly unethical, and you're buying an unethical product. They can't sell it. So I would encourage you, when you're looking to make change happen, to look how you can actually do that very specifically. And pressurizing lawmakers to bring about change is a viable method of doing it, but it's very, very hard. People, they have 1 million issues a week on their desk, and one person coming to them saying this is important, they say yes, it is important, so are the other 100 issues that I'm looking at. But going to a purchaser and say, we're going to tell all of the people that come into your restaurant that all of the stuff that you sell is unethically sourced, and they'll say, please don't do that. And you say, okay, well, buy from these people instead, and you just make a difference. I would encourage you to maybe look at that as, what is your measurable outcome of change? How are you going to know that you're changing the situation? I would suggest you're going to know if you change the situation if people aren't buying it anymore. So if you can stop them buying it, you are actually making change happen. So I'd encourage you maybe to just walk down that path and explore that a little bit. It's a great project and very worthwhile. I take my hat off to you both. Well done.
Well said, Peter. And I also want to backtrack and say, gorgeous storytelling. You started right into your story, telling the story that came from you and that why you were compelled to the cause. And for me, that spoke so much, that brought me right into the presentation. And I want to say for the whole group, not necessarily all the time, but sometimes not having a physical presentation actually helps, because your storytelling comes even stronger. And sometimes what I felt is students have been almost formatted through their education to always have that presentation, which kind of makes their presentation like, okay, I need to get through all the information. Whereas the way you just did it felt so natural to me, and it felt so powerful. And I sure will remember your project beyond, just from that speaking from the heart posture. So good job, Pang. Good job, Jena. That was really, really, really an excellent job at that level. In terms of the project, I would bounce off of what Peter said, and I'd say, yeah, what does success look like for your project? And I'd be curious to hear you.
For me, it would be a lot based around awareness, because I think it's really almost to a point unfair that people just don't know the true impact of their habits. So like, if you didn't know you are hurting someone, you'd want to know. So I think that's really important, particularly because I'm from the UK, and like all the fish is sourced from, like, it's stocked in like Tesco's and places like that. So I most definitely have eaten it in the past without intending to cause this impact. So awareness is really important for me, but also I think definitely making a change. I also not quite sure how it can be measured, because we don't know if people will stop eating fish sourced from dodgy suppliers, which don't really look into how it's sourced. But we can encourage people we can contact supermarkets and see their response to us and see whether they're doing anything to change their behavior. We can contact our local MPs and get them to put pressure on Thailand. Whether or not it'll work, we're not really in control of that, but if enough people are aware and willing to take action by sending an email, then maybe we're more likely to make a change.
Nice.
Yeah, so I really agree with what Jena said. And also to add on that like awareness point, I asked most of my Thai friends, they really don't know like this slavery, fishing slavery is happening like right under their nose. So that was really important too. And also I don't want to see like any more like in this injustice acts of like Thai people putting on other people anymore. And yeah, but that's from what I heard is that I think Human Rights Watch also did this kind of project before, but then when they were like, oh, this project is done, they went back and this starts happening again. So I really don't want this to like bounce back into the same loop. So like to hopefully to stop this permanently too. Yeah.
Great. Well, lovely, and I invite you to further wonder about, what would success look like and how would you measure it in the upcoming years or so. But one of the other things I want to congratulate you for is I felt that you want to have a systemic approach. You're trying to shift a culture, and that's not easy. You're trying to shift people's belief and people's behavior. And the truth is, what I usually do when I coach students at Sherbrooke University, I always encourage them to take a systemic approach, to have a view on the big picture. What are all the problems? Who are all the stakeholders involved in that system? And really trying to get to know those people. And doing interviews is a great way to really build your understanding of the system. Because what you'll often realize is that, yes, you need to do some advocacy work, such as you're planning the letter writing campaign, but you also need to do hands-on concrete action on the field that allows to build your credibility. And so it's a mix of what I often call micro action and macro actions that are more to change the mindset that you'll have to do. And one of the things I want to outline is, with such a great and big mission statement, you probably need to get a lot of allies on board. You probably need to get a lot of partners. You need to get a lot of organizations that are on board with you. And so I really encourage you in the upcoming month and the upcoming year to reach out to everyone in Thailand or even around the world who are doing work along those lines, and to create a network. Because if you want to create systems change, you'll have to start from the network, using everyone and using everyone's idea, because you'll be able to accomplish so much more than you can on your own. And I think you're on the right track. So just keep sharing that story with all that passion as you just did, but keep bringing more people on board to implement actions on the high scale macro and on the low scale micro. And for your next action, those letter writing, I know you said you were inspired by other organizations and NGOs. And often those organizations and NGOs, you need to remember that they have a long history, that they've created a network, they ran many activities. So I saw a lot of students who created great campaigns, but when they got to the moment where they needed people to write the letters and send them, they didn't have a network to do so. And remember, I always tell my students, Facebook or whatever website you're using is just your placeholder. It's not that's going to do the job for you. It's calling people, it's going to see them, it's one-on-one conversation, it's going to your old school, and it's all those people who will just see the message how you articulate it on Facebook, but it's all that relationship building that will make the difference between 5 letters being sent or 2,000 letters being sent. And so I just want you to keep that in mind. Who is it truly that's going to take the time to send a letter to their representative? And how do you get those people to do it? And it's probably beyond the technology. It's probably about those relationships that I encourage you to create. But really sum up, keep going. This could be a lifetime mission and project. And if you look at it historically, 50 years ago in some countries, slavery was still huge and it completely flipped over. Well, maybe there's lessons you can learn from history that you can apply on your project. And maybe in 50 years, we'll be looking back and you'll be part of history, having helped shift that culture. And so keep it up and just keep persevering through.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing? Francois, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yes. Can I just add? Thank you. That actually focused some of what I was thinking. One thing I would encourage you to do. You're taking on a very big area, and to be successful in that, you need to have benchmarks and you need to have focus. I heard a very, very clear mission statement from all that. When I work with projects, I have to get, if you can't say your elevator speech about what you do in 15 seconds, then you can't put it into practice, what I was always taught. So I heard when I statement, I heard we want to stop slavery in the tide fishing industry. Wonderful. Now then, I went, and Francois again, we worked on what is going to quantify success in this from the part of the fishing industry where slavery takes place. That is your outcome. That is what you're seeking to change it. That's your measurable change. It's going to be one less kilo of fish, because if they can't sell it, they won't fish for it. They won't fish for it. They don't need slavery. There's a concrete rationale in that. So your challenge is to link the two. You know what you want to do. You know what your measurable outcome of change is. Now fill in the gaps, but never ever lose sight of what your mission is and what the measurable outcome of change is, what it will look like. So you want to stop slavery. You're going to do that by stopping people buying it. So what success looks like in this is very, very important. Well done.
And I'm quickly going to share for everyone a tool in the chat, which is called A Student's Guide to Mapping a System. And it's for all of you who truly want to change the systems that are in place. It provides a really great framework. So don't read it during the other presentation, but open it on the side, and it's a great tool you can use in the upcoming weeks.
And when you two are ready, there's also a technology which exists to help send letter automatically to MPs based on zip code, which could make it easy if you have a pre-written letter for people to add their signature and send it. So I can help in that when you're ready. Lucy?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jena and Pang. It's so cool, again, just to think about how at the beginning of this program, we were talking to each of you individually, and now you've connected and started working on this issue together. That's so cool. For our next presentation, Mohammad, are you ready to go? Mohammad, are you ready to present?
Yes, I am. Actually, I don't have presentation. I'll just speak less than 5 minutes.
Sounds great.
And my presentation is to confirm my participation in the program. As some of you say, it's good to make small steps, but throughout this program, I changed the idea and the direction of my project, and that was like, yeah, because of different situations. And now I'm heading, like, I know where's the point that I'm heading to. So even if it's small steps, it's good to know where I'm heading to. So my project name, it was different project. Now it is a young media, a media company for young Palestinians. Actually, I worked on it with I'm now in the UK, by the way. I'm student, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Mohammad. I'm a student at AC, and I'm from Palestine, and I'm currently in the UK. during the last few weeks, I was working with Palestinians from back home, from West Bank and Gaza, and from different parts to get a media company. Why media company? Because we don't have actually like that media companies. All of them are locally. There's no international media company. And because 90% of the Palestinians that study journalism or study media or work in this field, or study to work in this field, 90% of them doesn't work in that field and end up unemployment. And because I'm also interested in this field, so I decided to make this company. Now I signed up for projects for funding on the websites, but because our number is like from 6 to 10 as a group, it is very difficult to get funding for all of this. And as many of you said, it's good to start small. So I decided to start again by myself, and then to get, and things will be getting and growing bigger and bigger. And because also like by that time I was thinking of registering it and getting it official, but it is, I mean, it's very difficult to get this official in the first few, like, you know, at the first of the project, the beginning of the project. So yeah, now I'm working on it on my own. I'm signing up to programs. I have pages on funding pages, and I'm now working on designing a page for it and doing up blogs on it. Yeah, and I hope it will work well. Yeah. Feedback.
How can we help you today, Mohammad? We being the whole group here.
How do you think? I don't know.
Do you have
Actually,
any?
I'm waiting like to hear like feedback from you about it, and what do you think of it? Is it the right direction as beginning, or?
Can I ask you a question? My question to you, what are you trying to do? What is the company going to do?
Oh yeah, it is a company like to show the basic life, the traditions, the culture, and I also decided to call it Jafra, which is like a traditional Palestinian song.
I heard you say that you're trying to it is to put forward traditional Palestinian life and culture. Is that what you're that is what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Okay. And what through what media? How are you thinking? Can you flesh it out for us? What you actually what that's going to look like?
Okay, I was thinking of making like, because like different people will work on it, so different people like will go into different fields. So like having videos or blogs or and having like recording videos about like the traditions, or going like through field trips, or like even having this website with different blogs and different people sharing it.
Okay. Why?
Well, why not?
No,
Because
that's but yes. Why do you want to do it? Why is it important to you?
this media company. Well, first of all, because like I wanted to work in the media field before. Also, I wanted like to share my traditions and culture from back home, and to help other people like that from the community.
And why are you compelled to sharing your culture from back home?
Well, I don't know. It looks like basic questions. I don't know. It's
No, that's okay. You have something to work on.
Hmm?
I would say, my next question to you then would, what will success look like?
Will success look like when you have like hundreds of people working in this project and it provides for them job and it reaches internationally, so it can be in English and in other languages.
And how will you, that's a very macro success, which I applaud you for, because you have the vision for that. That's sounding to me now like a vision towards a mission about what you want to do. You want to set up a media company that brings together Palestinian life and Palestinian culture. So I'm reflecting what I've heard you say, that that goes out to a lot of people and has a lot of people inputting into it to build something. Okay, what is your measurable output? What is a small success? What is the first success for you? Apart from start, which you started, which is the first success. What is the, yeah.
To have audience for it. Like
And
to reach out to people from, to reach out to people internationally, I would say.
What with what?
I don't know. I was thinking of like designing the website for it, but I don't know how to reach out for it. Like how would it, like how it would connect to people.
Okay. So what we were saying before about mapping sounds like it's something that's very important for you to maybe start thinking about. You know what you want to do. You've got your working on your vision and narrowing down your mission, and you know what the end result looks like. You need to start working on steps of how are you going to get from one place to the next. What is your next tangible step that you're going to take? I mean, for me, success for you is one person listening, being made aware of Palestinian culture and Palestinian issues that is not previously aware. Would you agree with that?
Okay. Yeah.
Good. So how are you going to make one person more aware?
I guess like just recording a normal video about it, or
Fantastic.
writing an article about it.
Perfect. You just said what success looks like for you right then. That's really, really important. So now you have a vision and you have what success looks like, and you have to just connect to. That's very, very important. So now you know what your mission is, and you know what a measurable outcome will be, what success will look like, and now you have to do it. I look forward to seeing the article.
We all do.
Yes.
And you'll have 20 people you've reached.
Yes, exactly. And I will share it when it comes out.
Thank you.
And
when are you going to write it? Is this my always other question? When am I going to see a draft?
ASAP.
Good.
And what's realistic ASAP?
Send me a draft. Yes.
Tomorrow?
In a week.
A week?
A week.
Okay.
Cool. Beginning of July.
Beginning of July. We know where you are now. We will chase you for it. But Joe, I encourage you though. Now you have a plan. You've taken a major in what this session now. You've taken a major step forwards. You've analyzed what you want to do. You said what success looks like, and you said what you're going to do to join the dots. That's fantastic. That's real progress. You are. writing that article makes you a change maker.
Yeah. And the first sentence you said was, well, I had to pivot and I had to change my projects lately. And I want to say congrats for daring to change and daring to pivot. And in the business world, there's a concept that we call fail fast. And it's instead of getting stuck up to an idea or spending 2 years building that idea to then realize it's not good, it's this idea of, well, if no one wants it, well, let's adapt, let's change, and let's pivot. And so I encourage you, Mohammad, but also everyone else in your group, when you realize that something you're doing is not creating the change or the outcome that you're hoping for, dare to pivot and change. So congrats for your first pivot, but dare to pivot and change and adjust as long as you keep that greater vision in mind. And as Peter just did, I was going to ask the exact same question. But yes, you have that great mission of a website with an international audience and with creating 100 jobs in your country. But always ask yourself, what is the next tiny little step I can do that will have a little impact towards that greater vision? And be a blog, be an article, be a post on Facebook, a post on Instagram that you could do this afternoon. Those are all the little actions that will help you build traction and create a gravity center around your projects that will then allow you to build slowly but surely towards that greater vision. So this applies to, in business world, we call those rapid prototypes. What are those first prototypes or iterations that you can put together that will help you build towards your greater vision? And with that, I think you're fully aligned, and we're all excited to seeing your first article or your first little prototype.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Good job.
And Giorgia,
We'll be waiting.
Do you just want to share what you put in the chat? Giorgia Walker.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend from a short course, GLF at UWC USA, and she started a thing called like Our Time Is Now, and it's more about women but empowering through art. And so I was just thought she might be someone who would be interested in helping with that or being involved. So I put her project's Instagram there if you want to get in touch with her.
And Luanga also said he could help you to build a website. Great.
Thank you.
So, I mean, just if people needs to pee now or drink water, we can take maybe a 5 minutes break and come back. And if people don't want to pee, they can chat. But I'm personally going to the bathroom quickly.
Unfortunately, I need to sign off.
Okay,
Now, I have to. If anybody wants to send me any outlines or anything to look at, I'm very happy to look at them. So I think you can
Thank you
get
so
in
much
touch with
for
me
joining
through
us.
my WhatsApp address is on the chat. But I have to leave now. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to, thank you in a very difficult time of lockdown. We've been sitting looking at the same thing for almost 3.5 months here. I've spoken, you're as many people as I've spoken to in the last 3 months total in the last hour. It's Wales is locked down, folks. It's not going anywhere. So please contact me if you need any help though. I'm very, I answer WhatsApps very quickly, you'll find. So contact me if you need anything. And thanks again, and you're doing a great job. I encourage you all to keep going. Well done.
Thank you so much. It was great meeting you today, Peter. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Shantzie, are you ready after the break to present next?
Yes, sure, I can.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah.
Oh.
And how were you planning to present as well?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I think you two are the only two we have left.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is so awkward now. My face is the only one. Okay. There was a moment there.
You're not alone.
Yeah. I was just staring at a whole bunch of names.
So Shantzie is left, and is it?
Yes. Those are the two presentations we have left.
We kept the best for the end.
Yeah. It's been really great hearing from everybody. I'm really interested, and I love all the feedback that we've been getting as well. Like really, really useful feedback. Yes. There's mosquitoes flying around my head. There's another annoying animal that I've seen too much of. Mosquitoes. Who said mosquitoes before? Somebody mentioned that already.
That was me. Goodness, they're everywhere.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day about it. There's no ecological scientific reason that mosquitoes, like, they don't contribute to the ecosystem at all. We don't need them. The world would be fine without them. I don't know, I feel like we say that, and then if they disappeared, we would find out. They had some secret contribution to the ecosystem, and everything crumbles when they leave.
I feel like
aren't they at the base of...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead, Haf.
I feel like they're just there to remind humans that, yeah, just to humble us a little.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a quote about that or something, like the mosquito buzzing in your ear. Like, I don't know, that you can be so strong and like be able to overcome anything, but there's always going to be like a mosquito buzzing in your ear that you can't get rid of. All right, is everybody back? Has everyone returned? I'm gonna wait. Can people give a reaction or turn your video back on if you're back from the break? Okay, cool. I think that's just about everybody then. Shantzie, do you want to go for it? Sure.
So I hope I can do it in 5 minutes. But first of all, hi everyone. My name is Shantzie. I am from Guatemala, and my project is called Language of Health and is target to Guatemala. So this project was born as a reaction to language barriers that disrupt the delivery of healthcare in my country. Because yes, Spanish is our official language and 80% of the population speaks it, but actually 60% of the population, like only 6% of the population considers it their first language. There are 24 different languages that are spoken, and out of those 24, 22 are Mayan languages. However, these languages are slowly dying, and each time there's less and less people that speak them, which means that there's a very small number of health professionals that speak them, or interpreters that can help translate medical terms. So that's a little bit of context for my project. And now, what is my project really about? It is about finding linguistic common ground, or a language of health, hence the name. And it occurred to me that this language could be visual language, because we see this every day, like everywhere. Language is used as a channel of communication because it goes beyond spoken language, right? So my idea is to create a visual and audiovisual guides that can aid the communication between Spanish-speaking doctors and Mayan-speaking patients. And the goal is to have charts and diagrams of the body, or scales with colors and images that people might recognize but not know the name in either Spanish or any of the Mayan languages. So doctors can diagnose and treat patients, and that way increase patient safety. And of course, I cannot create a guide that will help diagnose every disease that exists, because that's like huge, right? But my purpose is to create like this immediate channel of communication, right, between like the doctor and the patient. So common questions like medical history and allergies, and target also to the most common diseases that cause death in Guatemala. So like diabetes, something that like can be really hard to diagnose if you don't speak the same language. And then and then during this past 2 months, I've learned a lot about the Mayan worldview and how all the Mayan cultures are so different to Ladina culture. It's called Guatemala, like people that speak Spanish and that have European descendants. So it was really important for me to include in these guides phrases that can like about consent. So for doctors to be like, oh, I'm gonna grab your arm right now, I'm gonna touch your stomach right now, and tell the reason why. So patients will be more comfortable around people, because of course, like if you don't speak the same language, you might be a bit like, you know, uncomfortable, especially if they're touching your body. So help the communication with those kind of things. And during the Lighthouse program, and thanks to my lighthouse keeper, Giorgia, I've been able to contact health professionals through the UWC hub that can help me design the guides, because of course I'm not a doctor. So I need guidance to make sure they're safe and they're accurate and they will actually help anyone. And I've also contacted institutions in Guatemala that work for the conservation of the Mayan cultures and languages, so they can help me translate. And they have contacts with the Ministry of Public Health. They have all the resources and the information about how this is an issue in the Mayan community. So I've been researching a bit more. Unfortunately, everything that has to do with public health in my country is frozen at the moment because of COVID-19. All of their energy and efforts are going towards like the communication of everything related to COVID-19. So government statements, they are focusing on translating them and getting into the Mayan communities. So that part is a bit on pause, like that part of my project is a bit on pause. So my focus right now is to continue research, because I don't think I can ever know enough. And creating the guides, actually designing the guides and building a network here in Guatemala of all the institutions or campaigns that might want to use my guides, and then might need the help in communicating with the patients. For example, there are campaigns that like vaccination campaigns. So they translate the information like banners and everything, but they don't really have that immediate communication, that translation with patients. So help with doing that. And my ask will be mainly if you have any other resources or expertise that you can give me, or any gaps, like if you found any gaps in my thinking, just like, you know, let me know. And a very personal one, just if you're interested, just, you know, ask me questions, because I love sharing about my country. I found many people that don't even know what Guatemala is. So, you know, just put it out there. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Shantzie. A beautiful presentation. You crafted your story, a wonderful narrative to get people on board and understanding the movement you're creating. It's funny, I'm supporting a student at Sherbrooke University that's working on a similar project, but around just French in Quebec, and how, no, actually English people in Quebec, where a lot of our med system works in French, but English, often elder folks and working in English don't have access to information. So she has done a ton of research and interviews on the ground, a little bit like you did, built her network to try to understand how she can bridge the gap. And so I'm seeing lots of connection there. I'd be curious to hear a little bit more. What are the biggest challenges you're facing right now, and what are your obstacles?
The biggest obstacle was reaching out to people, because as I said, like all this system is frozen because of COVID-19. So finding information, or actually people that want to like help me understand the real issues. I've been getting trouble finding that information, because of course I want to be like very aware of what is happening, to make sure I'm like my project will have a real impact, like beneficial. So, you know, reaching out mainly.
Okay, cool. And you've also mentioned the COVID challenge. And so I'd be curious to hear maybe from you, are there any ways you could turn the COVID situation into an opportunity?
I mean, I guess I could do it. So find what the work they're doing, like translating all of this information to COVID-19 and how to make it a bit more personal, because that's the aim of my project. So yeah, I could take that as an opportunity and work from that side.
I might have misunderstood.
Oh, you're muted, Clément.
Sorry. So I might have misunderstood, but I felt that you said earlier there's a need for translating documents, official documents around COVID to those community. So it might be a way to actually get in the system and get your credibility up. So maybe it's not the exact guide that you had in mind, but maybe there's a way you can actually turn it into an opportunity and go up to them and say, well, we know there's a burning need right now to translate those communications to the Mayan community. Well, I want to work and I want to help at that level. So always, when you think about those obstacles, and it also touches upon your challenge of reaching out, maybe you can turn it into an opportunity because now you have some people you can reach out to. So that's something interesting. In terms of your approach, I think that you're on the right track, creating those partnerships both with the health professionals and with the Mayan community. And I think you mentioned health professionals at large internationally, but I think it's really important. Health field is so different country to country that it's so important that you find some doctors, you find some contacts in your country that you can have on board. And one of the things that my student who's working on a similar project ended up doing, she ended up realizing that the nuance and the subtleties of the projects are so complex that she can't create the guides because she doesn't have the feet in the reality. So now she's working on a project where she's creating a committee, an advisory committee for her project that's composed of the people who lack information. So in your case, it might be of 3, 4, 5 people from the Mayan community, maybe some youth, some elder folks. And she's combining some health professionals that are acting as the advisory committee as she produces the material. They're all going to review the material, give her input. So there might be a structure like that that you want to put in place. And even sometime with those kind of projects, you can get funding from research grant or government or and it's different country by country, I realize, but if ever you can get funding to help you structure and maybe even hire Mayan people to create the guides for you, and that would make them even more suited, more adapted to the local context, which could be an interesting avenue. And if not, the other possibility that arises for me is, can you partnership or connect with Mayan schools, for instance, or Mayan community, and get some of the students who, for instance, at a university in Guatemala are studying translation, and have them as part of their university work create those documents, so that it's not just you in your basement trying to produce those documents, but that you can really get more and more people on board, because those are also the people who are going to help you spread it through the network.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Thank you. I think now I have a different approach right now, like you just enlightened me. So yes, thank you. I will look into that.
And I'd be curious to open space to anyone else in the group who would like to give contacts or challenge Shantzie on her idea or structure. It's probably a good sign if no one speaks up. You're on the right track.
I hope so, yes. Okay, thank you.
That was awesome to hear from you. And the last presentation we have today is from Ha. So are you ready to go and present?
Yep. Okay, just let me share my screen. Are you guys seeing this?
We see the galaxy or the universe.
Yeah. So this is the Orion Nebula in the Orion constellation, and it was taken using one of the telescopes at Pearson College. And so at Pearson we have an observatory called the Newton-Godin Observatory, and we also have an astronomy cast we go to the observatory once or twice every week. We do some activities, we take some photos, we have fun. It's basically very chill, very fun, and we have 4 telescopes in total and a lot of astronomy related resources. And so the goal of this project, which is relatively straightforward, is to create a platform to share those telescopes and resources to other students located pretty much anywhere in the world, anywhere they are. And thanks to Giorgia, wait, no, that is not the wrong tab. This is, okay, sorry, I'm not good with technology. Giorgia suggested using Mighty Networks, so thank you for that. And a couple of friends and I created this sort of website for people to connect with each other and to access the telescopes at Pearson College. And so people can sign up for a membership, and after they sign up, they will arrive at this page. Okay, that is not the main page, but where basically people can post things, access things that other people have posted, connect with each other. There are different modules, sort of, on this website where we've divided them into housekeeping, which is just the ground rules, telescope instructions, where people are guided on how to use software to access the telescopes at Pearson College, so they can just observe the night sky or take photos or do whatever they want. Star Talk, that's where people can connect with each other, just make friends. Astronomy is, it's more of a academic module where we plan to post things about, for example, how galaxies are formed, how stellar astrophysics works for people who are interested in that. And just for fun is, well, right now it's just memes. And so our plan is to launch this page in September, around the same time we go back to school. And from now until then, we're planning on creating a series of videos, sort of like Khan Academy, about astronomy and astrophysics, and working on sort of a publicity campaign to get members to join us in September, and that's the gist of it.
Wow, great job and great generosity of wanting to make that accessible to the greater number to people around the world. I didn't even know you could remote use telescope, but that's a really, really cool project. I think the first questions that comes to my mind when you say that you're hoping to make it public in September and that you're working on your publicity and your outreach, I'd be curious to have you maybe try to outline as precisely as possible, for whom is this platform? Who is your target audience that you're hoping are going to adopt and use your platform?
Yeah, so I think the plan for our first stage is just to connect with other UWC schools. That's for first term of the upcoming school year. And we plan to do that through, firstly, word of mouth. We have, like in our astronomy cast group, we've got students from pretty much every country that has a UWC school right now. And also, to be more organized, we plan to reach out to national committees, UWC.io, and just social media accounts that are linked to the UWC movement. And then if it works out well during first term, we want to expand it further to more students. So maybe starting with high schools, middle schools in our countries, or posting this opportunity on opportunity sharing websites, platforms that people could access and learn about this website, our observatory.
And I love how you have a great idea of where to find people in the UWC network, in schools and so on. But truly, who are those students who will want to join your platform? In other UWCs, who are those students? How are you going to reach specifically those who are interested in astronomy?
Yeah, so I think every school has at least a couple of people who are interested, and I know that some schools have astronomy clubs. I think Giorgia linked me to someone in AC's astronomy club, and so we could focus on such clubs or people who are already interested. I think it's also good to just like put the word out there. I think if people are curious, and even if they don't know anything about astronomy just yet, then we're good with people just joining in and dabbling a little bit.
And I'm trying to think, if you want to make sure that there's life on your platform and that people don't just open it once and say, oh, it was a beautiful platform, but don't go again, the more you can target those people. And maybe you'll realize that in the UWC network, there's maybe 25 students who are truly passionate and will use the platform. Maybe that's not quite enough for all the work you've put in your platform. And maybe you want to reach astrology clubs from different universities around the world, from different high schools around the world, and so on. So the more, and this is common with people, we say, well, we'll offer it to everyone. It's so good if everyone comes. But I've seen it more often than not with student projects, where they end up having very few people come. And so the more you can be clear on who is this designed for and how will you reach them, and even maybe designing some ambassadors at every single astrology clubs that are in charge of making sure their people, their network uses the platform, the more you'll have people adhering to your platform. And I like, it's great how you're thinking, okay, we'll start with UWC. So we start small, test the platform, and then we'll reach further. But I'd challenge you to think, how can you start even smaller? How can you start next week, this summer, before you reach out to all the UWCs? How can you have 10, 20, 25 people test your platform and try it out? Because I'll do a little anecdote, but we've just launched a huge platform at Sherbrooke University, which is a Tinder for projects. So it's all about matching people who want to join projects with existing projects on campus. And the truth is, we did a soft launch where we got only 20 people to join the platform, and we went, oh man, so many glitches and problems and challenges that we hadn't anticipated. So instead of having that in September, once the school has started, and when you have all the UWC members on it, how could this summer you get 5 other of the folks here in the Lighthouse, or you get 5 of your best friends to test the platform, then 10, then 15. And every time you have them test it, how can you get feedback from them so you can improve the platform and make it as meaningful and relevant as possible? So with every big project, how can you start as small as possible would be my challenge for you. But I do find that there's so much generosity behind your project, and it's beautiful how you want to make the equipment accessible to all. So I think you're on the right track, but try to get those tests out sooner than later.
Thank you, that's very insightful.
What do others think? Any challenges or comments? Would you use Ha's platform? Would you like to test it for her?
Yeah, I just had a question. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in testing it out, but would you, let's say, like post guides on how to, because I don't really know a lot about astronomy. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't even fully know how to function those telescopes. We're still figuring the technicalities of everything out over the summer. That's why we're waiting for September. So yeah, we're all kind of like learning along the way, and it would be great if you want to join the platform. I'll send a link and you can just press the join button, and we'll let you in and you can see how it works.
I think that's a great point brought up as well, that if you have a platform there where people from other UWCs and other astronomy clubs can join it, you could have like a message board, right, and have people like asking questions. Like, I don't know how to look for Jupiter in the sky, but has anyone ever seen it? And people can help each other out then too. It can be a platform for like sharing knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then you yourself don't have to do all of that work, but you can connect people who have the knowledge with people who are curious about it. Yeah, that's great.
And is it a platform you plan people could use like as Clément said, like once, or is it something that you think is like more a forum that people would go like every week or something?
Ideally, I think, so the platform also has like 2 levels. At the basic level, it's just a place for people to drop in anytime that they want to use the telescopes. They can schedule like a time slot, and then during that time slot, we'll open the telescope for them to access using this software that I am not in charge of because I'm not smart enough for that. And at the slightly higher level, I would say it's also a place for people to return to connect. And also we're planning on like sort of creating a mini course that people can take. So that's like an incentive for them to return. But also that's taking a lot of effort. And we're not too sure on that right now because our group is kind of small, but we hope that in September when we return to school and we have new members joining our cast, then yeah, we can hopefully develop that.
Anyone have other feedback for app or? Good. I wonder, Clément, if you had like remarks for everyone which presented today.
Well, I must just say that I am so impressed and so thrilled because when I graduated from AC in 2014, and I wish so much that there would have been a space like that, UWC, for people to work on projects. Because yes, people were doing it here and there, but they weren't talking to each other. They weren't supporting each other. So it was so beautiful and so rich seeing you all. And I am impressed by the level of your projects. To be honest, you're at the same level as many of the students I'm supporting at Sherbrooke University. And so you're right on the right track. And if I'd have to sum up maybe 3 of the main comments you've been challenged by me or Peter or Jack about is, first, why are you doing it? What's your mission statement? What's that greater vision you're working towards? And really taking the time to ask yourself that question is so key, because that's the place from which your passion is going to show and from which people will want to join on board on your project. My second step is always, well, how do you map your system? How do you reach out to all the people who are working in the same field? How do you connect with the people who are living the challenge that you're trying to alleviate? And how do you involve them in the process? I mean, it takes more time, but those systemic approach are so much more lasting and aren't just Band-Aid solution. So most of you have done it to some extent, and I've invited you to go even further and really say, not only you want to create that project, but you want to become the expert of the system, because that's what's going to enable you to change the system in a meaningful way. And the last point was that question of what's your next little step? And you might have that big vision, whether it's around stopping slavery in the fishing industry, whether it's about reducing plastic on the world, whether it's about sharing astrology, whatever that great vision is, always ask yourself, what is that next little tiny step you can do from which you'll get feedback, from which you'll learn, and from which you'll be able to adjust your project. But you guys are all super, super, super inspiring. I also want to thank the amazing Lighthouse Keeper teams and Francois for hosting this initiative, because it was, I couldn't have spent my Sunday morning in a better fashion. So just keep up with your projects, and feel free to reach out to me through Francois if ever I can help in any way.
Thank you so much, Clément. Can you post your contact detail in the chat?
Yeah, sure, mate.
And thank you again to all the lighthouse keeper, because without you, I think we would not have been able to have like one-on-one support with every participant, and to Lucy to have facilitated all the previous group calls that we had. You did a really great job.
And thank you so much, Francois, for spearheading this whole project and initiative and getting it off the ground and running. And for continually having a lot of optimism about the program and supporting everyone, and like being the organizer of everything, keeping in touch with the lighthouse keepers, keeping in touch with individual people in the program who had questions and emails. Yes, it's been really awesome.
Great. And Clément Molinarois, oh, that's a great way to get in touch with you. All the presentation are done now, but it can be a good opportunity if people just want to have some last thoughts to share with the group. And we'll send you just a feedback form just to see like how we could, what was the best things about the programs or what could have been improved. But if there's some stuff also you would like to share now, we're happy to hear it. And again, congratulations to everyone who have presented, and we look really forward to see how the progress continue to grow. And if you want to send us updates or things that we can share with our networks, it will be a pleasure.
Yes, shout out to all of the people who presented today as well. It takes a lot of courage to present to a screen of blank muted people. So good job. It's definitely different presenting on a video conference, but you all did really well, and it was so awesome to see all of your projects. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say thank you guys, like on a personal level. I mean, like all of us, we kind of have to leave early, and like as a second year, you know, I thought, oh, leaving AC, that's the end of the whole UWC experience. And for me, it's just been so nice, connecting with people from other UWCs, because that was always like a massive dream of mine. And yeah, like learning about all your projects and with Shantzie and how like learning from you as well has been really incredible. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I think that's the end of the call, right, Francois?
Yes.
I'd be curious, before people head out, if you have to leave, what is the one word that you're leaving the UWC Lighthouse with? And if everyone could either shout it out or shout it out in the chat before they leave.
Good point, Clément.
Inspiring. Oh, useful. Actually, I'll say useful. Helpful.
That was 3
That
words.
was 3 words.
I would say momentum. I think hearing from so many different people has given me a lot of momentum. Sometimes hearing other people's projects and then having people say, oh, I know this person, or I think this would work, I think this could help it move forward, and it just gets your energy going with your own ideas and your own thoughts as well. Gives you momentum.
For me, it's hope, because I think to see what every of you guys are up to really make me have some hope for what the future holds.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. It was really great to see all of you and hear from everyone. And thank you so much, Clement, for all of your feedback. It was so great. And also to Peter and Jack as well. Unfortunately, they're not here right now, but it was great to have some really constructive feedback. Thank you all for coming.
And maybe just to close, we can have what we had, I think, in a previous call to make a triple clap. So everyone can turn their mic on, and then we will do three clap down. we clap in the middle, and 3 clap up, and then that will be the end. So, okay, everyone's ready?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Woo, yay. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ah.